Hello, my friends. All right, here we go for November 2020. Christmas with the Wayward Queens. This is Bethany. I know you can't see me, but hello. Today I am filming my tutorial for this awesomely adorable ornament topiary. Okay, so we're going to be using pretty traditional Christmas colors, but you feel free to change it up however you sorry, I got a text message on my watch and it's like squirrel. Anyway, you feel free to use whatever colors you want. Change this up however you want. However, if you're a beginner and you're not confident in changing it up, feel free to paint it exactly as I do. That is just fine as well. So, I'm going to be starting with, I have my phone here so I can reference my picture. If you want to have yours close by, that's fine too. I'm going to be starting with white. I'm going to paint my pot down here white and my joy ornament here white. And then we will move on from there. That is going to be our first step. I'm going to, you know what? I need to just throw that brush away. Let's open up a new, here's one that's not brand new, but it's not quite as worn out as the other one was. This is going to be I think it's a 1-inch brush, the red handle from the triangle handle pack from Walmart. I think most of you guys probably use those. If not, I suggest you try them out. They're awesome. You get 6 brushes for under $3. Can't go wrong there. So I'm going to start by painting my entire pot down here white. Keep your brush loaded up really well. You don't have to be conservative with this paint. It's not expensive. And you're going to get a much better coverage if you don't try to skimp out on paint. Also, I like to paint my edges. I have my ceiling fan on above me to help cut down on drying time. On occasion, I do pull out a hair dryer. I don't like to do that, but sometimes I do. Alright, so our middle ornament is also going to be painted white. You may not be able to see my lines, but I do have them sketched on, but I have painted white primer over the top of them. Alright, let's try to round that out a little bit. Again, I'm going to get my edges. Excuse me. Okay, now let's see what's next. I'm pretty sure we're going to do green. I'm going to paint this entire ornament down here in the bottom green, and then the center stripe on that top one. I already have a green here in my palette. This would be Apple Barrel Christmas green, but I do believe I've got some white mixed into it. Any green you have will be fine. You can pick which one you want to use. Just getting our base coats laid on. So anything that we do here can be painted over once it's dry if you don't like something the way it is. You can tell here that I have not changed my brush. I will use this brush for probably a good portion of this entire sign. I just keep rinsing it out. Sometimes I don't even rinse it. A lot of colors will just blend right into each other. Like if I'm painting something yellow and then I need to paint something orange, I don't rinse that yellow out. That's kind of a waste of time to me because that yellow is going to blend right into that orange. And so it just slows me down. And I like to work fast, fast, fast. All right, I'm gonna get some of this brighter shade of green. This is a folk art paint, but if you have apple barrel, spring green is a good one. I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow into it because I want it to be even brighter. And again here, I still have this dark green in my brush, but I'm not gonna waste time rinsing it out. Green is green. It'll all blend together. If you don't like doing that, then that is fine with me. Let's see. That looks like a good stripe. I am going to have to ask y'all to forgive me for 1 second. I've got Home Creations sending me text messages asking me about a big order. I need to answer them really, really quick. I apologize. All right, there we go. Done. All right. So we have, all right, so this is going to be red and red on top and bottom of this green stripe. This is going to be black and white stripes. We need to do a second coat on this green, and then we're going to have bright green polka dots on top of that. We're going to have red diamond pattern down here, and then we'll have holly leaves. It's going to be so cute. All right, I'm going to knock out some of that bright green because I'm going right back into my dark. Get our second coat on here. Oops, wrong one. Now the cool thing about these videos being pre-recorded is y'all can pause them, stop them, rewind, fast forward. I know that I work pretty fast. And if you can't keep up, or if you like to work at a slower pace, then that is perfectly fine. Okay. Rinsing that green out. If you want some really precise straight lines, you can use a straight edge. I have one smaller than this, but I don't know where it is. I'm not going to be using this one. I'm just going to show you guys for reference really quick. You can use straight lines here to trace, trace, move over, trace again. So you have a bunch of diagonal lines. And then you're going to flip it the other way and trace, trace, move it up, trace, trace. And so then you have a bunch of diagonal lines that way. When you've got both of the diagonals coming this way and that way, that's going to give you your pattern, your diamond shaped pattern. I'm just going to freehand it. Doesn't have to be exact. This is a whimsical style of painting. Freehanding is completely acceptable. Some people don't like to do that though, so if that's you, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can use a straight edge the way I just showed you. But this is going to give you your pattern down here, okay? And I went ahead and did that because we're going to be using red for the next few minutes. Uh-oh, I don't know what I just did. Oh, the cord to my hairdryer is stuck on my chair. All right, I'm painting the top and bottom halves of my top ornament red around that green stripe. Guys, I cut this one, this side I cut it pretty big, very long, because I think it looks better that way. But you've got the JPEG, We provided you with the JPEG, so if you don't like the size that I have the template already done on block poster, then you can cut it to whatever size you like. Okay, now we're gonna go on down here, and I'm gonna get a brush that has shorter bristles so that I have a little bit more control over it. This happens to be the triangle handle brush with the orange handle. And I'm gonna go straight into the red and start by tracing out one of my diamonds here and then fill it in. Okay, and remember we're doing a diamond shape. So you don't want to do the diamonds that touch the long flat side. You wanna do the diamonds that touch your points, okay? So you're doing either the ones directly to the left or right or to the top or bottom, not the ones where the long edges touch. I'm actually going to paint the entire rounded edge up here red. Okay. Now back to our diamonds. This design might kind of scare some people. It might look as if it's very involved and detailed and like it's going to take you forever, but it's really not that bad. I don't think it's going to take that long to finish at all. I guess it really does depend on how fast you work, but even if you're on the slower side when it comes to painting, then it's not going to take that long. Okay, I'm looking at my picture so I can see where we are. So we've got almost all of our background color except for our black stripes. We will need to do a second coat on this red when it dries. Let's go ahead and do those black stripes. I think will be good. I'm going to use the same orange handle brush that I've been using on my red diamonds because it's a good size where I can kind of control the bristles. They don't get away from me too much. And I can do, I can have more control over the size of the stripe. If you use a brush that's too wide, then you can't really control the size of the stripe. So I will show you here. Got black paint right here already. And by just doing one stroke, I've got a really, well, that's kind of crooked. You can see here, like that's the top of my ornament, so we're gonna fix that. That's a little better. By putting stripes side by side where they're touching like that, you can control the size and make them a little bit thicker. Okay. I want to mix some black and white together to get gray. And I like to have a lot of mixing room. So that's why I'm gonna go with a plate here. Sorry, just checking my view, making sure my camera had not moved. Alright, so when you are making gray, you always want to start out with mostly white and slowly add black, okay? I'm just going to pick up a little bit here and mix it in. And if it's not quite dark enough, you can always add more black. However, if you add too much black in the beginning, you're almost never going to be able to add enough white to get it lighter again. So it's always best to just start out with a little bit of black and then add more if you need to. If you've got gray already mixed in a bottle, if you bought it that way, that's perfectly fine too. I'm using this gray for the tops of our ornaments. Don't forget your edges. I think I've been forgetting my edges. I'm gonna have to go back and fix that. Alright, we are making good progress, folks. Good progress. Alright, I'm going to jump right into a second coat on my red. I think we're going to need more red. That glossy bright red from Apple Barrel is like the perfect red. It takes a few coats, unfortunately, but it is the prettiest red. Alright, really quickly going to do second coats on our diamonds. Second coat doesn't take quite as long as the first. We just want to cover up some of those brush strokes. Now, one thing I will say, we have had this talk many times about having OCD tendencies in doing this kind of painting. If you have OCD tendencies, that's something that you're really going to want to work on letting go of, especially when it comes to this kind of painting. This kind of painting is supposed to be whimsical and fun, and you also, most of the time in selling door hangers, people look for that handcrafted look. And if you are over-stressing about making sure all of your paint strokes are blended in with no imperfections or anything like that, then you kind of lose that handcrafted look. You don't want it to look like a homemade project you did with your 5-year-old, but you do want to keep that handcrafted, made with love by yours truly kind of feel to it, okay? So Don't stress so much about having brush strokes. This is a hand painted piece. There's no way to get rid of all of your brush strokes when you're painting something by hand. That's just natural, and it just comes with the nature of what we're doing here. No reason to stress about it. I'm still using that orange handled brush from the Triangle Handle Pack. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of extra white and mix here into the side of my gray so I can have a lighter shade. And I'm gonna use that to do a little bit of highlighting on the tops of my ornaments. Like so. Remember, we have not even started messing with our holly leaves and berries yet, so we still have to get those in there. And that's going to cover up a good portion of some of our areas. I think I'm going to go ahead and get another coat on some of those black stripes on that second ornament, because it kind of blended a little bit with the white background. It might have still been just a little bit wet. So I want to have a really good solid black stripe. Now we can work on getting our polka dots down here on our big green ornament. I like to do big polka dots rather than small ones. Alright guys, I am going to use a pencil. I know some of you probably use chalk. I know Tiffany uses chalk, and some of you may have picked up that from her. I personally don't use chalk very much. I like to use a pencil, but whatever you have is fine. If you want to sketch out, you may already have your lines if you bought from Home Creation, so this may be a part that you can just skip altogether. But I am going to sketch out my holly leaves here and berries so that I can see the lines of where they are. But my paint is still going to need to dry some more before I actually try to paint them on. Now, I'm getting the teeniest, tiniest little brush out of our Triangle Handle Pack, which is the blue handle, and it has this really small detailing tip on it. And I am going to use it to put some green dots in between each of our diamonds. My red is still a little bit wet, but it's okay. As long as you put on your green thick enough, you'll still see the green. We're gonna have to pull out the hair dryer here in a minute. All right, and then I'm going to also use that brush to kind of connect those dots, to put a little bit of green into our diamond pattern. Because we don't have enough red and green going on already. Looking good. Ain't she though? Looking good. We're not even 30 minutes in, y'all. Okay. Here comes the hair dryer. Y'all bear with me for a minute. Turn down your volume, or you can even fast forward. It's up to you. Our dark green, Christmas green, straight out of the bottle. We're going to go ahead and paint on our holly leaves. I'm going to go back to that orange handle brush that I was using before. It's one of my faves for using, or for painting smaller stuff. This is going to take 2 coats, but we're just getting our first coat on here. see my picture. I think up here on this top ornament, it's supposed to say peace. Okay, so we got peace, peace, joy, and Mary. So, peace is going to be in white. Mary is going to be in white. Let's see. I'm going to use a straight brush. You can see here the kind of brush I'm using because I'm writing in a smaller area. Remember, we're going to have our berries here in the center of our leaves, so that's why I left that spot right there blank. And joy is going to be in red, but I'm going to paint it in white first. When that white dries a little bit, we'll go back and do it in red. All right, while I'm working with white, I'm going to quickly highlight my pot down here at the bottom. And I can quickly highlight my ornaments. All right, now I'm gonna go into my red. And start putting on those red berries. Now remember, we have to do a second coat on the red berries as well as on the green leaves. You're not gonna get great coverage on them right away, but they will look fine when we get down to our second coats. Think. Do I want to try to go ahead I'm going to go ahead and do a red coat on the word joy, because I painted that white kind of thin. There might be some thicker spots that's not all the way dry, but for the most part it's dry. Now, who can guess what time it is? Time for second coats on our holly. I mixed in just a tiny, tiny, tiny dab of white to try and thicken up the color a little bit. To take away some of that transparency. And I think it did just the trick. We are so close to being done. I'm going to love this piece. I don't know why I'm singing. Can't wait to get a picture of this one and get it listed on Etsy. Okay, now I'm going to use the bright green to just do some highlights inside of those holly leaves. Remember, we have that bright green that I mixed with some yellow. Just like so. Nothing too fancy schmancy. Just a quick outline. Okay, now let's go ahead and hit, I'm going to add in, again, a tiny bit of white into that red for our second coat on our berries. Now this one might be kind of tricky up here if it's on your red ornament. We'll make sure we point it out when we do our outlining and stuff. Which is where we are. It's time to do our outlining. Alright, so y'all know I'm about to pull out the puffy paint. Y'all also know if puffy paint is not your thing, that is perfectly fine. A small brush, a small detailing liner brush is what you're going to want to use if you're not going to do puffy paint. I am, however, going to be doing puffy paint. I use Tulip Slick Dimensional Fabric Paint. You can get this at the Walmarts. And I think it just adds a little something extra. It's all in the details, my friend. And we're just going to pretty much outline everything. Definitely want to highlight, or outline, I'm sorry, your berries and your holly leaves, because they kind of blend in, because everything on this sign is red and green, and so those berries and holly leaves really kind of blend in. But once you hit them with that paint, they stand out on their own. If your paint is still wet, the paint on your board is still wet, you might accidentally scoop some of it up into your thing when you're scratching across it. So that's why I keep wiping it on my leg to knock off any extra paint that might be getting scratched up in there. You might want to keep a washcloth or paper towel or something and not use your leg, but hey. Ain't no shame in my game. You do you, boo. Well, this sure did turn out fabulous. It would be really cute, guys. I didn't think about it, but it would be really cute to go back when it dries and add red glitter to your red berries. Ooh, I think I'm gonna do that. So y'all be looking for this picture here in just a little bit. You'll definitely be looking for some red glitter on those red berries, because that is my plan. But this is the finished paint job on our ornament topiary for Wayward Queens November 2020. I hope y'all like it. I think it turned out super cute. Let me know if you have any questions by sending a message or leaving a post, comment in the group, and I will be happy to answer whenever I get notification. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.